y'all coming out to our public hearing meeting. We have Commissioner Larkins, Commissioner Johnny Adams, myself, Chairman Ellis, Patrick Smith, Administrator, Commissioner John Gowan, Commissioner Solomon Marlowe Jr., and Attorney John Will Water Jr., a.k.a. Okay, Commissioner Gowan, you wanted this meeting, so we'll let you take the floor.
Well, thank you, Chairman. This meeting was called among ourselves because we wanted to hear from the public. It's simply to hear from you. There were many questions after our last garbage contract when the fees were risen. And so now, before we make a decision, we want to hear from the public. We have an ultimatum before us. Our last day of our garbage service is going to be July 31st. We extended bids to at least 8 companies with no one responding or wanting to bid on service in Bullock County. So that leaves us without. We're going to have to make a decision, and we're going to have to make one soon in order to have garbage service. And so this meeting is just to hear from you all with some input, so when we go back and negotiate and look at what we hear from you all, we can make the best decision we can possibly make on behalf of the citizens. We got to give the people what they want. So we want to hear from the people at this meeting, Mr. Chairman. And you can just conduct it that way, and we hear from them. And then I think after we hear from everyone, their concerns, we'll look at what we've got and the research we made, and we'll go back and try to make the best decision on behalf of the citizens of Bullock County. Commissioner Barlow, you could light in on that. Is that where we are?
Yes, that's exactly where we are. Like Commissioner now stated, we did not receive any bids for unknown various reasons. Some of the reasons because of cost and the amount to operate a solid waste company. And one of the main feedbacks from, I talked to 2 companies, the main reason was afraid of customers not paying. That was the main reason they would not bid. And in Bullock County, we do not have any enforcement to collect solid waste fees or an enforcement officer, so to speak, to make sure that every citizen is paying their fee. So if everyone is not paying the fee, cost goes up. So that is one of the main reasons why Amway's costs went up, but they stated that they had slow collections. And I think when we were doing solid waste house Bullock County sales, there was an issue with slow collections. So that's why we're here today.
Chairman.
Yes, sir.
And one other reason we're here, to inform the public of what we know about what the law is and our responsibility for doing that. We have our county attorney who's been with us since this became mandatory. And at some point, he's going to address this audience and give the community a feel of what we are supposed to do and how we're supposed to do it. So that's an important part of it too, to educate the community on their role and responsibility as it relates to this garbage service. So that's another point, Attorney.
Tell me when you want me to.
Here, where you want the public to shine in first.
How does the attorney feel about that?
Well, for education purposes, to try to enlighten everybody here, the garbage pickup is part of what they call the Clean Water Act in Alabama. It's an environmental, it was put out by the Environmental Department, it was codified, and as a county, we were encouraged to become part of the Clean Water Act. Now, what that means is they don't want garbage getting into the water supply or chemicals or anything that could be harmful to human beings consuming water that's tainted. Now, as part of that, an environmental, you know, when I grew up, we had a dump out here about where that water tower is now, and the city picked up the garbage. They went out there and dumped it in the field. We went out there and shot rats at night because they were running everywhere. Well, we're going to come to a new world and a new day, and the government now mandates clean water, one for our health. If you grew up around here, and I can remember when I would travel somewhere else and taste somebody else's water, I couldn't wait to get back to Bullock County because we had the best water in the world. Hated to go to Florida and drink. I didn't know what they would. It didn't taste like water. But it's another day, another story. But where we are now, to dump garbage, you have to take it to a landfill. Not only is that landfill, it's not a hole in the ground. Understand something. Those landfills now are lined with a liner, especially to keep stuff from leaching out of the garbage that is dumped into the water supply, the aquifer. We set up over a big, I think it's called Tuscaloosa Aquifer, if I'm not mistaken. And so that is the reason for the garbage mandatory pickup. Bullock County voted, I think it was in 2003 or 4. I had just come on as county attorney. Ron Smith was the chairman, and we voted as a commission to be a part of the mandatory garbage collection pickup. Okay, it was mandatory. We had some garbage services prior to that. In 70 and 80s, there were people who tried individually. I know Commissioner Benjamin Jordan tried it one time, and others to start a garbage program in Bullock County. But needless to say, we voted, as a commission voted, to put Bullock County, as I think most every county in the state of Alabama, to become part of the mandatory garbage collection act, which is part of the Clean Water Act, which the environmental offices down in Montgomery kind of control. Now, and I get this question all the time about, well, why should I have to be a part of the garbage pickup? Well, I mean, I got 100 acres of land, and I can just go out and dig a hole on the back 40 and dump my garbage in there and cover it up, and I don't have to fool with garbage pickup, and I ain't bothering nobody. Well, yeah, you are, because whenever you put that garbage in the ground, and it rains, and the time goes over, and that whatever rots and leaches, it goes down deeper and deeper and deeper, and winds up in the aquifer where the water is. Now, so that's what it was designed. So under that act, the legal side of that act is this: you can't bury your garbage. Can't do it. That's against the law. You can't burn your garbage. That's against the law. Okay? So I said, well, I don't want to have to pay to pick my garbage up. Fine, you don't have to. Here's what you got to do. You load your garbage up, you carry it to a landfill. One is certified, it's got a liner in the ground, and they got one in Tallapoosa County. I think they got one down in BFI, maybe down around Brundage. Carry your garbage in there, you weigh it. They say, this is what you owe us for this garbage. You pay them, you get a receipt, and you're good to go. Now, if someone who's enforcement with the Environmental Protection Agency or the environmental people out of Montgomery, or the health department, or ultimately a enforcement officer, one who comes to Bullock County, comes to your house, knocks on your door and says, hey, Judge Rutland, you ain't paying your garbage bill. You say, wait a minute, I'm dumping my own garbage. Okay, fine. Show me your receipt. Here's my receipt. This is where I dumped my 100 pounds of garbage over the last 2 months at BFI and Brundage, and he's got a receipt. That's the case, you're good to go. You've complied with the law, you've carried your own garbage to the dump, you got a receipt where you paid for it, and you're fine. Those are your options on to dispose of your garbage. You can't burn it, you can't bury it, you got to carry it to a landfill. Okay? Now, for those of you who are on Social Security, if you are on Social Security and Social Security is your sole income, and nothing, your son don't live where you work at the chicken plant and he's making X number of dollars a year, that ain't your sole income for that household. You do not qualify. But if you are the sole person living there and that household is solely supported by Social Security, you can fill out a form and you will be exempt from the garbage fee. Your garbage will be picked up. You will not be charged to do it if that is your sole source of income is Social Security. But you can't have 3 folks living there with you and they working for Monty Plant Farm, working for the chicken plant, or working for whomever, working for the government, working for the hospital, and they bring home a check and they living with you, then you are not the sole source of income for the household. You don't qualify. Okay? So there are exemptions but you gotta apply for it. You just can't walk the door and say, I'm on Social Security. That don't work. You gotta go to the health department or the proper agency, fill out a form to be exempted from the garbage fee pickup, and you gotta do it every year on a renewal. In other words, you go in March, you get your exemption, you don't pay. Next March, if you want to be exempt again and your sole income is Social Security, you got to go back next March and apply again. You just can't, it's not a one-time deal. But other than that, that's where we are on the garbage pickup and why this has to be picked up. Now, I'm not going to tell you I got all the answers, but I'm giving you kind of a pretty broad stroke of where it is and what the regulations are. So, I'll be glad to answer questions or whatever, but I know the commission has made efforts to pick up the garbage before, and was not a good thing for the county. I know that because I was part of it. I watched it. I know what the financial side of it was. And so, and believe you me, I've called many counties who have tried it every way known to man, from dumpsters to picking it up to whatever, and picking it up themselves, and there's not one that I can tell you who's had a very positive experience picking up their own garbage or being responsible for it. Now, that doesn't mean it can't be done. I'm just telling you, done a lot of research trying to figure this thing out. And most all, if not, I'd say 90% of counties or more are contracting it out to people who, have the permits. You just can't run up there with a dump truck, throw the garbage on the back, go running down the road to the dump place, and garbage flying all out the back of the truck. That's a violation of the law too. And you gotta have insurances, you gotta have an environmental impact study, you gotta have permits to handle that kind of stuff. And then, you gotta have the equipment to do it. And again, all of those things add to the cost. That adds to the cost. So, I'll be glad to answer any questions that I can answer. I don't have all the answers. I'm not the legal guru on all this. But I'm giving you a pretty broad overview of where the garbage law, quote unquote, I call it the garbage law. It's the Clean Water Act. It's where all this starts. So, anybody got any questions? Yes, sir.
How many other counties are there in the state that are in this situation?
66.
They have no garbage pickup?
No, they have garbage pickup, but they ain't figured it. They do have garbage pickup, yes.
How many are in the state that do not have garbage pickup?
None. All of them have garbage pickup. All of them have garbage pickup.
Well, then how have we gotten into this situation?
Because all of the counties in the state are in this situation.
Well, they are in this situation. So they're not having their garbage picked up after July?
No, what situation are you referring to?
The situation where we don't have any garbage picked up after July the 31st.
Well, that part I don't know. I don't know who's in that situation, but I know that most every county in the state is part of the Clean Water Mandatory Pickup Act. And so, I know Lee County, Judge English over there is chairman. They have their chairman as a probate judge. I spoke with Judge English at length. They've tried it every way from dumpsters to whatever. Now they've gone away from dumpsters. They're back to picking it up at the curb, but they hiring it done. They get a company to come in and do it.
Well, my question really is, I don't know how we have gotten into this situation. These are our people that we elect to take care of these problems. We're not here to take care of those type problems.
Well, let me say this, and I'm not a commissioner, so I don't know how to answer your question, but I can tell you this, and you know this, I'm not telling you anything new. If you are in business to do a task, whatever that task is, raise cows, raise beef, whatever the task is, there's a cost factor involved of doing that. And if you don't match your cost factor against what you're coming in, you're losing money.
You go out of business.
You go out of business. Well, the county can't go out of business.
Well, maybe some folks here should go out of business.
Well, that's the reason we're here. And I'm going to tell you now, it's not that. The problem is this, and what it's been, we were having garbage picked up by the county, and we were charging something like $24 to do it. And this was the company where we were charging $16 and losing lots of money. So we got an individual company come in at $24, and I'm rounding up. It's not 24 exactly. And then when the new contract came out, they wanted to go to 33 because they were losing money. And so the choice came down to this commission approving that number or not approving. And because we got some citizens who had some concerns, we did it on a short-term contract for 6 months in an effort to try to get the cost lowered. They did. I didn't. I'm just a county attorney, but I understand what they were trying to do. And so now, the 6 months runs out on the 31st because we were hopeful that we made a valiant effort to directly contact people, sending out bid packages, trying to get a bid that may be lower than the 33. And what has happened is, because of the explosion of prices, I'm sure that anybody who was going to bid is going to be probably close to in the 40s per month. And so the commission's saying, hey, let's get some input from the public to find out if some folks have got some different answers. But ultimately, to pick it up, it's going to be a price to be paid. And they don't set the price, but they're trying to work with the public to find answers that may be a way to help not have to pay so much a month for garbage pickup. Because we got, when that company bid 33 and they adopted it, it wasn't good. And I understand that. But it's going to be higher today because of all the cost factors that have gone up. And so they're looking to try to work with you, work with the public, work with the people who are getting the garbage picked up to see if there's some answers that where it won't be so expensive to do. And again, I'm going to not answer that question no more because I don't get voted in, they do. And I'm going to let them answer the question.
I want to address that. How did we get here? We can go down several streets and make left turns and right turns and circles and roundabouts. How did we get here? We go straight down Main Street.
Commissioner, I can't understand.
We can go straight down Main Street and find out how do we get here. The reason how we get to this point here is because of non-payment, because of loss of revenue from the company Amways, and because the fuel prices went up, everything has gone up. So that's how we got here, and we end up in the 6-month contract because no one else bid on it because of, I keep reiterating, non-payment from the customers. Now, one thing from talking with a couple solid waste companies, one of the reasons that they did not bid is, that's one thing I would like to see corrected. We have an option. We do not have a solid waste officer, someone to enforce, we can't make you pay any bill, but someone to enforce it and say, XYZ on Y Road is not paying their trash fee, pick up the dumpster. So they don't have to go down that long road for anything. So we definitely need to incorporate a solid waste officer to make it look more lucrative to other companies to bid on. So that's one of my solutions I want to offer and suggest, that we do heavily look into hiring a solid waste officer so other companies can take a look at Bullock County. Thank you.
Commissioner Galvin.
And now, Mr. Clinton, to kind of address your question, we're here because of the deadline. But we're going to have garbage pickup, and we're going to have it, and the cost is going to be determined by what we decide. Now, we're researching this, asking questions about it. And now, I called some counties as well. I did extensive research on it, but that's going to be for us commissioners to go over after we hear from you all. And in Henry County, Ronnie Dollar is the administrator. They pay $14 a month, and the county picks it up. They have a truck, and they manage it. In Greene County, a county similar to ours, it's on the water bill, so everybody in the county pays, so they know what kind of money they're getting, and it's $17 a month. I called Barber County, they contracted, it's $29 in Barber County, but Arrow is picking it up in contractors. Camden did have, Wilcox County had it on their water bill, and that was effective, but they did it with someone else, and they wanted to collect themselves, so they're in trouble. In other counties I called, in the same trouble that's described, most of them are in trouble. But once our size, we want to try to find a solution that can help us meet our desired need. Another thing, just while we're talking, I would like to see this county pick it up, take the brunt of the cost, do what it is, have that money, go take and turn over at least a time or two in our community where we get sales tax on it and not money run out. So I'm a proponent of trying to collect it ourselves, myself. And we want to hear from you all about that. And if you have another question for me, I'll be glad to answer because I'm researching this the best I can.
Raise your hand. Yes, ma'am.
What is the problem with our adding it to the water bill? You said there's a.
We're going to have to try to reach out to South Bullock Water and see if they would do that. And then everybody would be on it. The city of Union Springs, when they had the same situation, they went into mandatory pickup, the city placed it on the water bill. You move, wherever you move, you go, you got a water bill, you got your garbage bill. It's there. And the utility board collects it. That's 100% safe, 100% way to do it, 100% participation. You got everybody on that has water in their household. But they move, go here, there, whatever. So you got everybody. I kind of like that idea myself.
Now, it's my understanding that some states, the state of Mississippi, allows the county to put it on their property tax bill. And that way, it has to be paid, and it's deductible. But I have an idea, you gotta go through the state legislature.
And that would be time consuming. We have to make a decision before July 31st to continue. We would have to go that way. If that's something the citizens would like, then that may be something we could consider. But we want to hear from you all. But right now, we're under the gun to make a decision before the 31st.
Well, you can initiate that now, and it may get approved in 6 months from now or a year from now, but that at least you have a long-term plan. We don't have a long-term plan.
Commissioner Gown, I talked with Brett Moffitt with Dixie Electric, and I invited him to come to the meeting. He said they can't touch it, the collection. And but I invited him to come to the meeting tonight.
Say that again, Chairman. Chairman, say that again.
I said I talked with Brett Moffitt with Dixie.
Speak up a little louder.
I'm sorry. I said I spoke with Brett Moffitt with Dixie Electric and invited them to come to the meeting tonight about this, but they don't want to touch the collections. They said they can't collect the fees, but they're a private company. What Commissioner Gown was talking about with the utility board here in Spring, they are part of the city, am I correct? They are. So that's the difference.
You saying Dixie Electric or South Bullock Water?
South Bullock Water
South Bullock.
contracts with Dixie Electric to collect the water bill, that's part of the electric bill.
But they said they didn't want to touch it. Yes,
Mr. Chairman, I understand. They didn't want to touch it. But right here, in some of my research, the county may contract with utility or building a collection of fees. This County Commission Association. And in Camden, they were doing that. They had a utility like Dixie Electric Cooperative. They were doing it in Wilcox County, but they ceased to do it. But in Greene County, the county is doing it. The county has it on their water bill today.
Yes, sir.
The idea that you said, those are two of the things that we had discussed earlier. And I think all things are negotiable. Just because they didn't want to come to the meeting today, I'm quite sure we can get them to a table somewhere down the line. Because that's one of the mandates, that's the only way I see this thing being enforceable. Put it on a utility bill and hire a solid waste officer. I mean, it's demanded right now. And I think it starts today. It doesn't start 6 months from now. So the plan should start today.
Well, the thing with that, the law don't hold a citizen from paying on a utility bill. The reason why, you got a water bill, you can pay your water bill and not pay your garbage bill. And they can't shut you off. You just on the umbrella, they can't shut you off. I don't know where they get shut off about we gotta get enforcement. So our thing is, we need to work on trying to get a law enforcement. We need to work on trying to get someone to enforce the law here in Bullock County. When Bullock County was manning their own garbage service, when I came on board, Bullock County was $230,000 in the red. That's the reason why we had to stop the service here in Bullock County, because we were study going in the hole as the year was going on. Because the citizens wouldn't pay the $16 that was allowed for them to pay. And the same thing is going on now. The citizens don't want to pay the amount of money that is set out there for them. You got some citizens, not all. They know they got to pay garbage fee, they pay it religious, no matter how much it goes up, because they know that's the law. But a lot of citizens in Bullock County are not doing it. So that's why we're in the work we're in now. And it's up to this commissioner body. We're going to work together and make sure that we get garbage service for the citizens of Bullock County and get it to a rate to where Bullock County can afford it. So we're going to work together to do that. So the citizens, this commissioner body going to work together and get that done. And whatever tactic we need to take, we're going to do it.
Citizen. Yes, sir.
What will happen the first week of August if you don't get a company to pick up between that, because the contract ends in July?
Well, I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. We're going to have to get our dump truck and hook up to the dump trailers that we got, and go around and pick up garbage. Yes, I mean, that's all we can do until we get someone in position to take it. But if we don't put bids out, we can't make nobody take the bids out because of the history of not paying.
I understand.
It ain't nothing that, everybody in Bullock County gonna do it. You can't point fingers at no one. You can't point fingers at this commissioner body. The commissioner body doing what they're supposed to do. They're working hard to keep garbage service here in Bullock County. And we have went out and put bids out, just like the law is set to do, and that's what we're doing. And we're gonna continue to do what we gotta do.
Commissioner Bowman.
To answer your question, that's one of my main concern. What happens at July 31st? Nothing. We don't have anyone to pick up. So I bestowed it upon myself to find out the end game. While they're working on solutions in between, I'm working. One idea I have is we have to put a dumpster in the middle of a community somewhere, and just put our heads together and figure out how can we maintain it, keep it clean, put cameras around it for temporarily, to just maintain ourselves for right now. But we won't go without service. Okay, we will have something in place.
Well, we were told that when you paid your garbage bill, the garbage truck people had a list of people that had paid. If you had paid, they picked it up. If you had not paid, they did not pick it up. Our garbage was not picked up last week, and we always pay our bill. And I called and I still haven't picked it up.
That's the issue with Amways. That's wrong with Amways.
I'm a little confused. Did you say that Amways did give you a price and it was elevated, and you chose not to accept it? Did they give you a price that you thought it was too high?
No, they did not bid this time. They had no interest in bidding. They gave a price in January when we started, and gave us that 6-month extension. And we're paying that price, the $33, what they gave us. But they did not bid this time when the bids went out. No one did. Amway said they were not interested due to collection.
But did I not understand, and I can't hear real well.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Did I not understand that they wanted more money, and we weren't willing to give it to them? Is that?
No. They was the only company that the contract.
Back in December or January timeframe, we bid out the garbage service. And we only had one bid from Elm Waste.
Okay.
And the price was $33 and some change. So the bid was supposed to be a 3-year contract. But the county, since we only had one bid, the law allows us to negotiate with that bidder. So we negotiated with that bidder and said, would you just do 6 months at the $33 and some change? Because we want to rebid and look for other options. And so they agreed to do a 6 months term, even though the contract was supposed to be a 3-year contract. So they agreed to do 6 months, which ends July 31st. In that time period, we rebid it again. We sent it out to 11 vendors that provide garbage service. We sent it out to 11 vendors, and we got 0 bids. So now we're in worse shape than we were back in January. We have nobody bid. So that's kind of where we are now. We're in the 6 months extension period, but we don't know what we're going to do after that ends. Now, I will say this, our attorney has said since we received no bids, we can again try to negotiate with different companies without violating the bid law, since we had no bids.
Can you tell me what % of households are not paying?
I asked Mr. Cal Franklin today, he's one of the managers at Amway, and I said, how many customers are y'all picking up? It's kind of their books and their records, but there's currently 997 customers. And I said, how many people are not paying? How many people are behind on their bill? And he said he really didn't know. He would have to get with the accounting department, but he said the collections in Bullock County are worse than any county they deal with, and they are in 3 different states, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. And he said the collections in Bullock County are way worse than any county they deal with. They provide the service in Montgomery County, Pike Road, a couple of communities, I guess you'd call it communities or towns around Birmingham. They have a lot of clients, a lot of customers.
Right here.
My question is similar to the lady here. Trying to wrap my head around how many people aren't paying. You say there's 997 customers in the county outside of the city. Because in the city, everyone is paying, correct? So I understand that?
Yeah.
So out of 997 county customers, we don't know how many are not paying. And so I'm trying to understand what the contractor's beef is and exactly what the numbers are. How many dollars a month or per year are they not able to collect?
I'm not administrative.
Right, and you said 997. That number is the amount of existing paying customers. We have approximately around 1,400 customers, so you're probably talking about maybe 300 or so that we're not collecting from.
Okay.
Right, and that revenue, I mean, we're looking at, with that 997 customers, you're looking at $33,000 a month, over $400,000 a year in collections. But yeah, 997 is our
That's
existing.
what they're actually collecting from
Right.
the people who are paying, but they're
Right.
still short probably another 180, 200 and some thousand dollars a year. Okay, put some numbers on it. Thank you.
I would like to help with that question. That's why I would like South Bullock Water to collect. That's 997 customers. We We have 2,900 customers on South Bullock water. Now, you look at 997, 2,900 customers on that water system, South Bullock water, and you got a lot of people, I would say, not playing with water meters in this county.
That's a lot of it.
So what you're saying is that there are many people in this county that don't even subscribe to the garbage service outside of not even paying. So, and that seems to me that that's one of the reasons that the bidders are not interested in taking on this county, because it obviously has a reputation of, you know, what's the use? I'm sure they're looking at it that way. I mean, isn't that unusual that 12 companies were not bidding at all?
And y'all ask these companies what this is bid from?
I did.
What they would need from y'all to get a bid out of it?
I talked to Waste Management today, Mike Mitchell. I talked to Waste Management today, Mike Mitchell, and he stated if we were to get a solid waste officer, that would look a little bit more to that company. They would look this way at that time. If we got something,
He's right with that, because the majority of them told me that if we was to entertain an enforcement officer, they would have no problem getting on board with the contract with Bullock County. So you're right. Majority of the 11 did say that.
Instead of hiring somebody, can y'all just get somebody that already works for you, be a solid waste officer, and give them that duty? They share.
well, I can read that. I can read the law what it says on that. Solid waste officer. The county commission may designate any county official, county employee, or solid waste authority official or employee to exercise the authority of and perform the duties delegated to the solid waste officer. So we have that person in place. We don't just remove them.
They're already sitting there.
To give another answer to that question, I spoke with Cal Franklin today, as I mentioned earlier, and I asked him, I said, can we work something out with you? How could we work something out? They said, or he said, that they are willing to pick up the garbage, and they will bill the county once a month for the number of cans they pick up, and the county commission would have to pay the bill. And then the county would have to do the billing to the customers, or either hire a company. He said there's some companies out there that will actually do the billing, mail out the bills every month, collect the money. So we would have a company to do the billing, collect the money, turn around and pay Amways to provide the service. Now, if we don't collect enough money to pay the bill at Amways, then the county's in the hole.
That incentivizes y'all to enforce the law.
So we need to get and you know,
And the only real way to get the price down is to make everybody take the service. You got 2,900 water meters, that means it's 2,900 houses, and somebody's living somewhere in the county, and that, with the economies of scale, I guess, would bring the price down to something that everybody would be happy with. Reading between the lines, you would think, you know, when they hit it with $33 and change a month, and people started to crawfish was a little on the bill, that kind of told Amways that, you know, maybe that's a little too much. But if everybody's taking it and the county's enforcing it, then cost comes down for everybody, and it's a little more easy to bill for everybody to pay. You don't have to give Social Security folks an exemption. That's optional. It's not something that's written in stone. That's up to y'all. Everybody making trash, everybody needs to pay a little something.
You know,
That's
yes, sir.
our concern.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just in terms of the solution, I'd like to offer, whatever solution you choose, whatever path you choose, I think we as a county need to provide better public relations to educate people on the importance of enforcing the Clean Water Act and picking up garbage, not burning it, and so on. We are blessed with clean water here, and if you want to keep it clean, you're going to have to keep the plastic and the other stuff out of the water. And people throw stuff off the bridges into our creeks and shingles, and there's no enforcement for that, and no follow-up for that, and no trying to deal with repeat offender areas where solid waste getting thrown into our water supply is a regular issue. So until you educate people about the importance of keeping your county clean, our county clean, we're always going to have these problems with collection, and people paying, people participating. We need to get everybody to participate. Public relations.
Fines for not paying your garbage bill is gonna be, it starts at $50, I think it goes up to $250, and then after that, it's a misdemeanor. So,
We have fines for not paying.
the law says that if the waste enforcement officer says you're not paying the bill, they deal with it to start with. It's $50 fine, the next one's $100 fine, $150 fine, the next one's $250 fine. You've already paid, but you paid garbage bills for the year to get that many fines, you should have just gone and paid it anyway. After that, it turns into a misdemeanor, and it either, I'm assuming it comes from me.
Made a good assumption.
So, you know,
Public relations with teeth, excuse me.
so it, you know, but I think the key is getting everybody to make everybody take the service so that the monthly cost comes way down. If you got 29, you got 900, talking about another 2,000. That's gonna, yeah, that's a lot of money, even at, you know, a third of what they're charging now, the 900 is garbage.
Not all those customers in Montgomery County. Some of the South Bullock customers over in Montgomery County, Pike County. Not all over in Bullock County, because we had to put members on that board from the other counties because of the, not all the customers are from Bullock County.
Even if you had another 500 people,
I don't know what it is. That's the point.
I'm on the right track. So we look.
Any other comments from the public? Commissioners, attorney?
Solution. And I go back to something that Chairman McDowell was saying, Commissioner McDowell was saying that if it's one thing, ladies and gentlemen, that we got to look at, there may be other counties that are our same size, but what we need to look at is their tax base. Is what makes them a lot different than what our tax base is, and that they have other things inside of that county that brings revenue into that county that can subsidize certain things inside of that county. Green track, they got all of those casinos over there, bangos and all that. They got industries in that county that we do not have in this county. And I don't personally, I don't think it's fair to all of the citizens of this county to put the burden of paying for those that can pay and won't pay. That's not fair to the citizens of this county as a whole, as a taxpayer. Because see, we don't have a tax base like that county. But we just need to come up and everyone needs to take responsibility for their own individual household and stop looking for a hand out and look for a hand up. Take some responsibility. And I agree with what the commissioner was saying. If you got a compliance officer in place, you got the law already on your side, there's no, let's stop beating around the bush and just do what needs to be done. You get that compliance officer in place, let him or her start enforcing what the law says, and let it's gonna be done, who's gonna do what. They're very leery about coming together.
Gentlemen, comments, citizens?
He's asked for a solution. I guess from this whole meeting, what we discussed, long-term solution is applying this bill to our utility bills. Long-term. Short-term right now, I'm talking with Waste Management. Commissioner Adams is talking with Amwaste right now, pending if we get a compliance officer. So that's short-term right now what we're working on. So those are solutions that we have on the table that we're going to go back and hammer out and work on. And like I stated earlier, if all else fails, I'm working on putting the dumps in the communities temporarily. So we are working on a solution.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
And I stand by the solution and not sending this money out of town. I'm working on a solution and looking at trucks and getting another additional 1,000 customers to bring that up to 2,000, cut the cost, and see how the county can pick this trash up and keep this money within our county and let it turn over at least one time, if not 2 times, before leaving our county. Our county is being drained dry with everything running out. So I'm looking at us doing it if we can possibly do it. Now, we got to be studied and looked at if we can do it. If we can get an additional 1,000 customers, we can pay the cost and get everybody on. We'll have 2,000 instead of 997. And I think we can do it if we put our mind to it. And so you got different solutions, but this is one I'm going to be pushing.
If you find additional 1,000 customers, it would work.
I said, well, that's enforcement. They're out there. That's enforcement. Getting everybody to pay. That's enforcement. You know, somebody else going to collect the additional 1,000 and take it away. They're going to get the additional 1,000. We get the additional 1,000 customers. We collect it ourselves and keep the money in. Because they're going to get it. If we enforce it and make another 1,000 folks pay, they're going to take it over. Keep it at home.
Yes, sir.
I think, personally speaking, those people that have trouble in and out of this county, was actually those that I know, just paying their bills, timely. I think it was the Amway's cost that drove a lot of people to dispose their home and do whatever. And I think I asked Mr. Brown the other day, just meeting on the street, the day about that. My concern was also that the county did collect waste for years, up until I don't know when the decision came up to country, and they would never just walk people, which was dealt with instead of doing out, So I think that's what caused a lot of problem payments. It's just me, so we don't have all this high.
When the county was doing the math, they wouldn't pick it up when it was $17.50. They wouldn't pay the
Right,
county.
it was 16 back then, so you see, I remember that, and I've seen lots of employees doing that time also. So I'm not complaining about the county increase from 1640 to whatever, but Amway's fees are ridiculously high compared to what we went from here. Some get, some bring in.
I think the view price.
Personally, I think the county, all the rules and regulations have to follow that.
It's just inflation. I mean, everything goes up. You know, it's supply and demand, everything. But you know, as a business owner, everything goes up. So,
I mean, you're right, because I mean,
you know,
they had to incur
look
a lot
at
of
gas.
costs.
Gas is $5 a
That's what
gallon.
I'm saying. You're talking about the dumping fees went up 40%. I mean, the gas and diesel went up 40%. So they had to cover that cost somewhere. I mean, by raising it. Like I said, we had a
And we would too if we were still in the business. We have to go up. We call the landfill, and we asked how much they charge per ton. $115 to dump. That garbage truck pick up the garbage, they gotta take it to the landfill, and they have to pay when they go in the landfill, so it ain't dumping free.
Now let me tell you this, but at the same time, it's $115 per ton now. Now back in 5-6 years ago, it was $35 per ton. Now you see that huge increase, and they're dumping fee, and they tacking that on, I mean, to cover their costs. I mean, they're trying to break even themselves. That's why they increased it from $17 to $33. I know the customer probably don't like it, but you know, they had to incur their costs and pass it on to the customer.
You just think that, one year that people that's not paid.
Right.
I don't think it's not paid. It's measured.
Exactly.
Before I became a commissioner, I watched my father go through some of this problem with solid waste. Since I've been on the commissioner board, it's always been a discussion. We know what we need, but we won't ever take action. Keep kicking the can down the road. We know we need somebody to enforce it, but we're just talking. Until we do that, we don't care who pick up the garbage. We're gonna have the same problem. So that's the solution. Like Mr. Baldwin, let's try to. Matter of fact, we can get the money man here and see what the budget allows to do. See, can we hire a employee to do that, and then, follow behind it, support it, and also, sheriff, you got to go out there and arrest them if they don't do what they need to do. Judge, you got to put that fine on them. Everything's politics. I'm scared I'm gonna lose a vote. Vote for this one, vote for that, do this for that one. You ain't got to pay this. It got to be a favoritism thing. That's where we at. We just talking. We know we need law enforcement to enforce it. Let's try to work on hiring that person or persons, and then we'll keep kicking the can down the road, and we just be talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. Yes, sir.
Why don't y'all hire a person to do that and give the authority to collect?
Right.
And push it, because everybody needs to pay their fair share.
That's right.
We need to hire somebody to start with.
I heard the commissioner talk about putting on the property tax, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Nothing happens until the end of the contract, then we're gonna turn the world upside down. He's all talking.
He's been saying
Stop
that
talking and let's take some action.
The whole meeting, he has
Yes, sir.
expressed that.
I get the feeling that we want to maybe do it in-house, or have the county do it. And, I can remember when I started deciding I was going to change the oil in my car and change the tires and do this, car didn't do real well. My suggestion is to hire somebody who knows what to do to pick up the garbage. It costs $10 for a month, it costs $10 for a month, and then as time goes on, we can rebid it.
But you can't make a company, you can't, as a business owner, you cannot make a company accept a bid. He clearly said, all meetings they was at, they clearly sent out 11 bids. Nobody bid. That's the whole problem. Nobody bid.
Why?
We just need.
Why does nobody want to bid in this county?
Well, we have to let the customers know that do not participate in the government. There has to be accountability. If you don't participate, that's accountability. Just like I said, you have to have someone to enforce it. I mean, I don't know whether you have, I don't know the protocol or procedure, but if you have someone to enforce, communication is very important. Let them know if you are not paying your garbage bill, that is going to be consequences. And you can't burn and you can't bear. You got to pay your garbage bill, but let them know that there's accountability and maybe we can do it in-house. I feel like the customers, from what I've heard, they're too numb with the outside source. They prefer it being in Bullock County because they feel like they're being ripped off for $100 a month, and we may can charge more if we do it in-house because they feel like, they're, what you think?
They didn't pay us what we were doing.
Mr. Chairman, let me say this one more time. I'm going to say this one more time. I was part of the city of Union Springs when we eliminated this problem by placing household, you move from this apartment to that apartment, it follows you, and that was participation. You don't have to get out here and enforce it like that. Now, you can enforce some things. Enforcement won't be that tough if it's on the water. You know who it is. If Mr. Like I say, if you don't want to pay the water bill, you got a running account. It's old, it's old, it's old. You don't have to pay, and you know where the money's owed, then you got a track to take somebody to court. You owe it because you hadn't paid. Talk to South Bullock Water and try to get a small county. Try to get them to help save some money. The Water Authority of South Bullock should be willing to assist this small county that can save these citizens. Just talk to them. Because it's zero in the city. That solves every bit of it. And they can have a surplus of money by everybody being on it. You pick up trash and everything else. And that's a simple way to get this and get all your customers. Won't nobody be left out. Have 100%.
I'm probably, Mr. Chairman. Oh, please, I want to share.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Yeah, Chairman, you don't call my name 4 times. All right, you talking about 400 houses, and I got 5 deputies. All right, Ms. Waters, I'm correct. You don't have to have a rest power to serve a piece of paper.
That's right.
Is that correct?
I'm sorry, Chair, I didn't hear exactly.
You don't have to have a rest power to serve a piece of paper.
No.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
You got people in places that take a piece of paper out there and serve someone and say you need to pay your water bill or you're going to get a warrant. I'll arrest them, but y'all can stick a piece of paper to the aisle instead of you calling my name with 5 folks.
Your dad still do that?
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Your dad still selling papers?
You too old. I'm probably the last person in the world to want to hear about solid waste. I've been there, done that, and we have to be brutally honest with ourselves. I serve the chairman commission. We hired a solid waste compliance officer. At the same time, we hired them. Garbage fee was only $16.50. And we also said that we would pick up any, as long as you in good base house, and get more refrigerator and so we'll pick it up for free. St. Thomas went through the school, totally certified, helped wrote the template for it. You must have the district judge on your side. You must have the health department on your side. You must have the 911 on your side. All of them, and it's so simple. But the key to it, and you all probably call me all kind of name you want to, but I'm going to tell you straight up, citizens of Bullock County do not pay their garbage fee. We have called them in. Jan is here. We have called them in. Attorney Waters is here. We have had people as much as over $2,000 to $3,000 in arrears with $16.50 a month. We have even reduced. We asked the auditor, Jan, can we reduce it so that they can be in compliance? We had them to sign a document that we said we'll pick up your can if you don't pay it. You create another problem. Or then they'll dump it in your waterways, and burn it or use others. So we call them in. We'll say, Mr. Ron Smith, you owe X number of dollars. Can you pay it? Ron Smith, no, I can't pay it. We'll make an arrangement. You owe $300. Can you pay us $100? And then pay $50 a month till you get your. Am I right or wrong? We've done that. But until the citizens of Bullock County realize that you get a great deal and become responsible and pay your own bill, you are just talking trash.
Amen.
That's it in a nutshell. The county commission
they will come and complain. I'm off my soapbox. I wish you all well, because that's a 600-ton muscle that got to be tackled, and you're responsible for 3 things, county government.
And I think they're doing a wonderful
Police
job.
protection, fire protection, and solid waste. You everything else are nice. You must provide solid waste. So you got to figure it out. How our budget going, but the citizens of Bullock County don't pay their bills. Point blank.
You right. That's the problem.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything off the left, saying the citizens don't pay the bills. No, they don't. There is, this lady that is deceased for numerous of years. After she passed, someone moved into her home and never did pay the government bill, $3,000. How can you continue to bill a lady that is deceased, a bill every month, and someone else is in the house? Huge springs is not that big. When someone in huge springs out, everybody knows about it. Everybody knows about it. I don't care what race you are, we know about it. So why would you continue to send a bill to a person who is deceased? And it goes up to $3,000. And the thing laughs about it.
Nothing else from before. We were to say, we're gonna work on this solution. And like I said, when I came on board, we had $250,000 in the red on solid waste. And it's still there. Still there on the books. Ain't no way the county can remove it. Unless they go to them citizens and get that money from the citizens. So when I came on board, I made sure my family that I knew they had to pay their bill. I went around to them personally and got them to pay it because I knew it went right. So some of us probably need to look back through that list and go to your citizens that you know. Bullock County need that money. We need that $250,000. So go to your neighbor, tell us, hey, start paying Bullock County.
Commissioner Lockett, I'm sorry to interrupt this time, but, and I'm gonna use Jan, because Jan knows that at one time what we did was, we split it down by the quarter. Each commissioner had a district. Commissioner Allen, you remember that? And we said, Commissioner Allen, you're commissioner for District 2. Here's a stack of all the people that's in your district that are not paying the garbage fee. Give each commissioner a list of all the citizens that are in their district that are not paying their garbage fee. And we tried that. And that even failed.
Why did it fail?
Because the citizens didn't pay, and then the compliance officer had resigned and became the mayor of Union Spring, and we didn't have enough compliance.
So there was a follow-up.
Huh?
So there was a lack of follow-up.
We didn't have a compliant officer. And so that's when I say, I agree with you all about getting a compliant officer, so you can report it to one office, and let that officer or office person handle it. But the lack of a compliance officer was the major reason.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. McDowell, you mentioned not picking up garbage at the county building. How much these trucks gonna cost and figuring out the cost, how much this is gonna cost the county, so they're working things.
Well, it didn't work due to non-compliance of everybody being on it. That's why it didn't work. That's why I say solicit South Bullock Water. My last thing, that's getting this on, we want to be looking for nobody. If we could just get South Bullock Water to place this on that water bill, we'd have everybody in the county and we do it. Now I have trucks and I have some in this packet here. I'm not talking about all that here today, but I have copies of trucks and things to look at, lease prices for a year. We can go into and stuff. And so I'm looking at all the costs and all the figures outside of this conversation to see what I can present to this commission to try to get my point across. I'm studying all of this as we go for the last 2 days and talking to other counties and things as well. So I have something to present to the commissioners for us to look at and consider, you know. But
well, I'm just going to say this.
well, they lease for X amount of dollars a month, you know. And this is just one person. You being, you know, lease these
I'm
trucks.
just letting the citizens know this, that for a truck, you're at least talking about $400,000.
Thank you.
That's what you're at least talking about. For a garbage truck, you're at least talking about $400,000 per truck. That's your price. You know, you're looking at for the size truck we need here. I think we have a 14-ton truck, if I'm not mistaken. And you're looking at some. You can get a cheap truck, maybe around the $300,000 range, but then you just get a problem. But it's going to be $400,000 plus for a truck.
What I'm looking
You're talking
at,
about two in Bullock County. You got the pay count. You're already $250,000 in the red already with solid waste. Now you're talking about adding on another $1 billion. You can't do that. That's a bad business move. That's a bad business move there. So our thing here, we're gonna have to find a way to release our citizens. This commissioner body got to come together and find out a way to get this cost down for our citizens. And that's our job to do. And when we bring something back, it'll be for the.
Yes, sir, Mr. Reed.
I want to say one other thing. I keep hearing Commissioner Brown talking about South Bullock Water. Do you think South Bullock Water would be more receptive of doing what you're talking about if there was a compliance officer in place to help them to be able to collect? Because see, that burden of collection is going to all be on them. And I think that if they knew that they had someone else that was going to be there to help collect that portion of it, I think that they would be more receptive of it. If you got that person to say, okay, we got sister or brother so-and-so here that's going to help you collect it. You let us know which ones are not collected, then we'll let our compliance officer go out and do that. So it won't be no extra cost on them. And that may even help you in your negotiation with other companies coming in. If you got someone that's going to help them to be able to collect the necessary funds to make sure that things are operational within their budget. And then what we've got to understand as citizens, our houses are not together. We are miles and miles and miles apart of each other, and diesel is more higher than gas. So these companies are looking at their bottom line figures. And if I got $300,000 trucks that's running in a county that's got over 35,000 square miles, and my fuel cost is costing me more than my vehicle.
There will be a more electric.
No.
If you lease it now, though.
Even if you release it, you still got that same problem.
And I understand what you're saying, Brother Reed, not as debate, but today's vehicle, the new one that you're leasing now, they will be alternative fuel, because fuel is going to be dissipated. We can say, well, fuel is going to be yesterday, but the newer vehicle that you can lease will cost less, and you have a lease program that will eliminate or diminish maintenance. So if you get to go to those newer vehicles, electric vehicles, it will be a lot cheaper.
Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Reverend Reed, all we ask South Bullock Water to do is just place it on the bill and give us a record. Not collect it. I mean, they collect it. If they don't collect it, then our enforcement will look at it and we go see if we got a record of who owes what and everything, and we can do it. We're not asking them to do anything except just simply place it on the bill. And then it comes into them or not, no big deal. But if it doesn't come into them, then our enforcement officer, we'll know where it's at and how to go forward with it. We're not asking them to do anything to place it on the bill.
But if they place it on the bill and the person pays it, they got to disperse that money out to you, right?
Just like the utility board. We don't ask them to do anything, just place it on the bill. They can pay the water and don't pay it, but we got a record of what you owe.
So that's been more on them than their accounting department.
And that's a
Pay
charge.
that out, because they pay to send you a check.
And that's a charge.
And that's what your charge is, not what your fee is that.
It cuts down on how much you get accountability. Accountability, you pay for what you get. Yeah.
Well, I can just say this, citizen, we can get someone to take the garbage service tomorrow. If the county will collect and just write them a check per month. We can get someone to collect the garbage tomorrow. If the county will collect from there, just write them a check directly. So they ain't gotta worry about, getting the money from the citizen. That's our problem. So several garbage services already don't say that they would collect, they would pick the garbage up in Bullock County, but Bullock County Commissioner Office got to write them a check for the amount of customers they got every month, and we worry about collecting the money. So, that's an option there. It's on the table that we just got to worry about collecting the money. So we're gonna get an enforcement officer. So that might be an option we're gonna have to take.
Yeah.
That might be an option we're gonna have to take. We're gonna have to just enforce it.
I think that's a great idea, and, you're gonna have to enforce it sometime.
Yes,
So
sir.
take responsibility.
Yes, sir.
That's
Yes, sir.
Take
Just like-
responsibility.
It's just like Chairman Ellis said, when he came on board, how many years? That's 12 years ago that they've been putting off, not getting enforcement. Now, it's just something that's gonna have to be done in Bullock County. It's gonna have to be enforced, and we're all gonna have to pull together and get it done. We're gonna all have to pull together and get it done. I mean, this is something that's on the table for us to get done. So it ain't nothing that's just happened.
Anything else, commissioners, Chairman Waters, citizens? Thank y'all, ladies and gentlemen, coming out, voicing your opinion. Thank y'all so much, ladies and gentlemen.